Welcome. I was going to try and come up with something clever to say, but I didn't have anything. Anyway, welcome everyone to the Castle of Spirits True Ghost Stories podcast. I am your ghost keeper, Jane.
And hello, I'm your ghost keeper, Vince. And we...
Together we're the ghost keepers.
Yeah, the ghost keepers, being plural, meaning more than one.
But sometimes three.
Sometimes, well, we have the castle hellhound Freya,
Thankfully,
but
she's sleeping.
Sleeping. I'm sure she'll rise any moment now to
Please, no.
start chewing on her fuzzy balls. Hello to everybody out there in YouTube land. We're broadcasting on YouTube.
That's right.
Recording this. Also, thank you for listening. If you're listening out there in podcast land, where we are happy to see you.
We can't see any of them, but
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, you guys can see me, and I just wanted to address my my shirt. It's kind of cool. I've been trying.
It is a cool shirt.
I'm wearing a shirt. It has a black and white shirt with some really cool artwork on it that says IQ. It's not a Halloween thing,
And it doesn't mean that he's smart.
Certainly not. But it's just a cool band from the 80s and they're still around today, but that I've liked, and it was a gift from a friend. So thank you very much.
Yeah, that's very nice.
You're not decked out in your Halloween attire.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not.
But you are the Princess of Darkness. So
I am?
Yeah, that's what you're called.
What's with the hair? It's just color conditioner.
Oh yeah, it looks good, doesn't it?
Hello, everyone in chat. Anyway, Vince, I think we might have some ghost stories to read tonight.
Yes.
I was thinking we could do that a little different than usual.
Well, last week it was unusual. We talked about talked about UFOs.
A little bit.
Sort of, but are UFOs
Ghosts.
Like shrimp is bugs, UFOs is ghosts, or ghosts is UFOs?
It's it would be UFO is shrimps. UFO is ghosts.
There's nothing like live recording.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So what have we got on tap?
I don't know. I was thinking you could read us a story real quick
today. And yeah.
We've been getting a lot of good stories submitted lately, haven't we?
Yes. And we're just pulling them up on our phones here because we're completely...
Yeah, we're not texting. We're actually getting our stories straight. You're going to read first?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, as everybody knows, we accept true ghost stories or, really true paranormal stories on castleofspirits.com.
Any kind of paranormal or just mysterious. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that happened to you that you can't explain, let us know. Unless it's something like you can't explain why she left you. In that case, we can't help you there, and we don't want to hear about it.
That's a different podcast.
No offense. But this is strictly for paranormal stuff. So we've been getting some really good stuff. And I wanted to share that because we have 26 years of stories that we could, pick from.
28.
1996.
7. And 1996 would be 29.
Is it 28 years already?
28 years,
Yeah,
1997.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah. And so, but we just started getting some really cool stories. So I wanted to read one, if that's okay.
Yeah, we had kind of a lull there for a while where we weren't getting a lot of stories. Guys, send us your stories. Come on. We can't do the podcast without you.
Yeah, what's the matter with you?
Mm-hmm.
My first story for today was submitted in April of 2025. That still sounds so futuristic, doesn't it?
Fresh.
It was submitted by, I hope I don't massacre your name now, Kiran Kathayat from Kathmandu. We got people visiting us, our website, and the podcast from Kathmandu.
I like it.
I love it. And this story is called The Girl from the Gufa. We used to live in a single room for a few years. Eventually, we moved into a flat. At first, everything felt new and exciting. I live in Nepal, Kathmandu to be specific, where a large part of the population belongs to the Newar community. In their culture, there's a ritual called Gufa, where a girl is kept in isolation for several days after her first menstruation, and during that time, they're not allowed to see sunlight or interact with others. There's also a terrifying belief tied to this ritual. They say a khyak, a spirit, visits the girl during her isolation. It can be either black or white. The white khyak is said to be harmless and even decorates the girl with ornaments and makeup. But the black one brings death. I'm sharing this because the landlord of the flat we moved into was also from the noir community. About a week after we moved in, I woke up late at night and saw something outside our window. It was a white figure, a girl, and she was walking around the compound, laughing softly. I ignored it, thinking maybe my mind was playing tricks on me. The house had only 2 floors. There were no children living there, certainly not in our flat. Another night, I was sleeping beside my mom when I heard the sound of a child giggling. I brushed it off at first, assuming it came from outside. But the laughter continued, soft, persistent, almost playful. Then it turned into humming, and it was a tune I did not recognize. A cold chill ran through my chest. We locked our room and we tried to sleep. But the sounds did not stop. At one point, I could feel it right next to my head, like someone whispering directly into my ear. That night was the longest of my life. And after that, the dreams began. I started seeing the same child in my sleep. She was dressed in the traditional Gufa attire, her face pale and still. For 3 nights in a row, she appeared in my dreams, asking me to play with her. She begged me to buy her shoes and buy her new clothes. I was terrified. Her face haunted me even when I was awake. I could remember every detail of it. I stopped thinking about it during the day, but every night the fear returned. She would come again, smiling, laughing, calling me Diddy, asking me to come play with her. One night I finally asked her in my mind, "What do you want?" She answered clearly, "Play with me. I want new clothes, bangles, shoes." The next day I bought a doll. Even though I'm Shetri, and I don't usually believe in these things, especially the spiritual rituals of other communities, something told me to do it. I put bangles on the doll. I told the girl, "These are your clothes now. These shoes, they're yours." After that day, she never came back. The dreams stopped. The whispers ended, and the fear left. And that was called The Girl from the Gufa by Kiran Kathayat. Hope I didn't mess up your name too bad. In Kathmandu, Nepal, April of 2025.
Wow. I don't think I read that one. I try to read all of the stories, before I publish them.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just kind of skim and I'm like, yep, it's a whole story and it's readable, But wow, it was kind of sad.
Yeah, and there's something that we've talked about before in the past, I think. Before in the past as opposed to before in the future. Where sometimes the scariest things are also very, very sad things.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite horror movies that have chilled me to the bone. Well, not necessarily my favorite horror movies. There's the movie The Other, not The Others from 2001.
Oh, yeah. The one with the little boys.
The Other from the 70s, and I believe John Ritter had a small role in it. And it was just a sad story about a couple of twin boys, and well, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but there's something
Don't
really
ruin
creepy about the movie. But there was also an underlying, tragedy in the story.
Yeah.
Don't Look Now, with Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
One of the
yeah.
greatest horror movies I've ever seen. Well, it's more like, I don't know what it was, a supernatural thriller or something.
And Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Yeah, and all of them have this underlying tragedy, and Let's Scare Jessica to Death, she had...
She just got out of a mental hospital. She had some kind of a breakdown. And
yeah, she was very fragile.
yeah.
And Don't Look Now, it starts with the couple's daughter, drowning.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was her son. It was a daughter?
It was the daughter.
Oh.
And that left a real effect on me.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was based on a book by Daphne du Maurier.
Wow.
You like my French?
No.
I'm not asking you, I'm asking them.
They don't like it either.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't do any more.
Another thought that I had in the story was, so it said that the girls go, was it for a few days? So they're like put in isolation for a few days.
Yeah.
Okay. And then a ghost apparently comes to them and gives them shoes and things, right?
Right.
So what if that was not a ghost? Just like the woman who wrote the story wasn't a ghost, but maybe there was a girl in a gufa somewhere who saw the white ghost come to her, and she was begging her for the bangles and the clothing and things that they always bring, but really it was like a timeline, or you know what I mean, like a folding in time. So neither one of them are ghosts, but they're seeing each other, and that's why after a few days she was gone. Maybe she got the doll, maybe not, but the time in isolation was over.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, the fact is that one can't argue that ghosts are sort of a merging of two timelines.
Right.
Somebody that you see walking through your castle at night is somebody who lived 100 years ago. It's not them still living there.
Right.
It's just an echo of something that happened a long time ago. And it doesn't mean, I don't necessarily think that an echo has to be created by something traumatic or something big. It can be, it can be
very mundane.
I have had like the most mundane experiences in my life that are some of the most memorable too, that I remember where I was when I had this thought. Very mundane thing.
Yeah.
And also that also opens the door, if you want to believe that, into considering that maybe you are haunting somebody else.
Oh yeah, we've had that
past
conversation.
or in the future even.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting here living now.
And maybe we are haunting this house for whoever's going to live in it in, 20, 30 years from now. Not that we are going to die and we're going to haunt them then, but
After we sell.
They every once in a while see this weirdo with a melon head, trudging down the hall, and they're like, we're being haunted.
No, I don't think that you should talk about yourself that way. I think your head is beautiful the way it is.
Yeah, I hate it when you turn my jokes around on me. Anyway.
Oh, it was a joke. Okay.
I'm done.
Oh, yes, your melon head.
I'm done with you. I'm going to read a story now.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
I'm going to read another brand new story. So this story is called Voice and Salt, and it was submitted by Anonymous in Anonymousville, I guess, September of 2025.
By the way, I just want to say I love your work, Anonymous. You're responsible for some of the greatest things I've ever read.
Mm-hmm.
Keep up the good work.
Yep. Hi there. I'd like for you not to share my name or email address. I've never told this story to anyone, and I don't want to chance anyone I know reading this and knowing it was me. I know that's a long shot, though. When I was 20 plus years ago, and first moved out of my parents' house into my own apartment, I had an experience that scared me so bad that I literally dream about it weekly to this day. I had only been living in my apartment for about 3 months. Everything was fine. I hadn't heard or seen anything that I would consider spooky or paranormal. I mean, like anyone else deals with daily, my keys would not be where I thought I had just left them, or my shoes would be in a different part of the apartment than I thought. I had just been promoted to manager of the little store I worked at, so I just blamed me losing things on being tired and overwhelmed at work. One night, I had just arrived home and was taking off my shoes when I heard a voice come from my bedroom. I couldn't understand what it said, but I could tell it was a woman or a young boy. My only door into the apartment had been locked, and I was pretty sure my windows were too, so I was certain there was no one in my bedroom. I figured it was probably something outside or a neighbor. I quietly, just in case, walked to my room and looked in, but there was no one there. My window was locked, and there was no one outside. I thought it was weird, but figured there was an explanation. About an hour later, I was sitting down to eat dinner when I heard the voice again. This time, I swear, I know this sounds crazy, but I heard the same voice come from under my dining table. And this time, I could tell it was a woman. I don't have neighbors beneath me, so it wasn't that. And I'm sure I heard the voice say something like, "All of them," or "I love him." I couldn't quite tell, but I freaked out and started looking everywhere. My neighbor on that side of the apartment was a large guy, so I know that voice wasn't him. He also works nights, so he wasn't even home. There's no way that mostly clear voice came from anywhere but my apartment. Over the next hour or so, I heard the voice a couple more times in different parts of the apartment. I seriously just stood in the center of my apartment and listened. I was so scared, but also kind of fascinated and convinced I'd realize the rational explanation any second. After a while of not hearing the voice, I decided to do a little bit of a ritual to keep the spirit away from me. I lit an incense and walked from room to room with it. While doing that, I sprinkled this chunky sea salt I had around the doors and windows. Somewhere I heard that was supposed to keep a ghost contained or prevent it from coming into a space. After an hour or so of not hearing anything else, I decided to go to sleep. I was still so freaked out that I decided to sleep on the couch so I could have the TV on. The next morning, everything seemed normal. Nothing had happened overnight that I knew of. I went to work and told myself I was being silly. I heard a bird in the roof or something. Somehow it was one of my neighbors. By the time I got home from work, I had pretty much convinced myself I had been overreacting. When I came into the apartment, everything seemed normal. I was so sure I had made it up that I just marched right in as if nothing had ever happened. My evening was normal. There was no voice or strange sounds. I had honestly just forgotten about the whole thing. But later that night, when I went to bed, I felt like I was laying on little bits of gravel. It was everywhere in my bed, between the sheets. I turned on the lights, convinced it was bugs. I don't know what to say about that. I guess I'm scared enough of bugs to jump right to that. It was not bugs. It was salt. Chunky sea salt. I looked around in front of the doors and windows because where else would it have come from? There was no salt on the floor anywhere, not that I could see anyway. But there was a good cup of it in my bed that was made, and I hadn't slept in the night before. I broke my lease 2 weeks later. My landlord either wasn't interested in the reason or he wasn't surprised. Thanks. And that was Voice and Salt by Anonymous, submitted in September of 2025. So the reason I chose to read that story, I mean, besides
Because
the
it's
fact
scary.
that it's pretty creepy. Do you know that I knew a woman once who told me that something fairly similar to that happened to her?
Seriously?
Yeah, it was sometime in the 90s when I was doing hair. There was this woman, I was cutting her hair, and we were talking about ghosts. I was doing ghost hunting at that time. And I don't know how it came up. You know, I'm weird. I was probably like, I ghost hunt. And she was like, cool. Are you also cutting my hair?
Yeah, because you have to have a conversation, I guess, with people. So, how's your day? How's your day?
Yeah.
How's yours? Oh, I'm going ghost hunting tonight. Do you want to hear more?
Right. So we got talking about it, and she was telling me that her house was haunted. And I was like, oh, tell me everything. And I don't remember exactly the story that she told me, but I do remember she said that she had sprinkled some salt. I think it was just at her front door, or like her front and her back door or something. And that night when she got in bed, there was salt in her bed. Like the grains of salt.
My first question would be, do you have a cat?
How is a cat going to pick up the salt and put it in your
It could
bed?
be litter.
She said it was the salt.
Oh, well, maybe the cat messed with the salt balls. But I don't know. Yeah,
What
no,
is
that's
a salt ball?
I don't know. I'm just trying to find a. Sometimes you land
A
on
weird
something.
explanation.
Sometimes you land on a good one.
Yeah,
that
I'll
was a
solve
miss.
it for
was a
that
miss.
lady almost 30 years later.
Well, is she listening? Was that her that submitted the story? She said it was
Oh, I don't know.
20 years ago, and
No.
20
This
years
lady
ago.
was older. She was probably about 60. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you cut her hair more than once? Do you
Yeah,
remember her?
I did it a couple of times, and she invited us over. She's like, hey, yeah, bring your ghost hunting group over to my house. She told me where it was. We drive past it all the time. I can point out to you which house it was. And we went there one day, and we knocked on the door, and she didn't answer. And
You didn't call ahead?
I didn't have her phone number. This is the 90s, friend.
Well, if you're going to go ghost hunting at somebody's house, it's probably a good idea.
She just said,
if you
here's
get
my
permission.
house. Come by. And I did, and she didn't answer.
Did you go by with your whole group?
Yeah. Well, it's just 3 of us. Yeah.
Well, she probably saw these 3 ruffians on her porch and was
It's
like, I'm
true.
not answering
They
this
were
door.
they
It
were
could-
goths, so she was probably like,
Oh, okay.
there's the chick that cuts my hair and 2 goths.
Maybe they're collecting for. I forgot to tip her last time.
We were
always
pretty
tip your
on
hairdressers,
brand
by
for
the way.
ghost
Always
hunters,
tip.
right?
Yes.
I was like the Daphne of the group. I was a little bit like I was trying to be a normal person at that point.
Who's Daphne?
She's the normal one, the blonde.
In where?
Scooby Doo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I thought I said that.
I grew up on another planet, guys.
Scooby-Doo.
I know Scooby-Doo. I know the scruffy guy that's always high or whatever.
Shaggy,
Shaggy.
not Scruffy.
Scruffy. And I guess it's like if you were to...
You don't know all of their names?
No. Vanessa? Victoria?
No, but you're closest. One of the names starts with a V.
Which one's the dog?
You know which one the dog is. All right, quick, and then we'll move on. Scooby-Doo time here.
Mm.
There are how many guys and how many girls, not including the dog, Scooby. How many human guys and human
I think
girls
there's
are there in the group?
two guys because there's one guy that dresses kind of nerdy and the other guy is baked. And then there's the dog who looks like
I said no dog.
like a werewolf. Huh?
He doesn't look like a werewolf. He looks like a Great Dane.
One
How
that
many
walks
women are
upright.
there?
I think there's 3.
There's
Blonde,
2.
brunette, and a redhead.
No.
No? Oh, wrong cartoon.
No, there's 2. Yeah. You don't know their names.
Vanessa, Babs, and no, don't tell me. Buffy. Oh no, that's the Vampire Slayer girl. That's not. Does Scooby-Doo go after vampires?
Okay, we're done here. It's Fred, Shaggy, Velma, and Daphne.
Fred?
Yeah, Fred is the guy, the blonde football player looking guy.
No, I said he looked like a nerd, not a football player.
No, he looks like a football player guy.
Oh.
Anyway,
Wow.
how
Guess
about
I have to watch Shaggy McDoo, whatever that show is called.
guys, do you see what I have to put up with regularly? Shaggy McDoo.
Well, I was raised by.
Shaggy McDoo.
I mean, my mom might be watching, so my father's watching, so I don't know. I shouldn't say anything. I was raised by fine people who did not
You
like
were.
Scooby-Doo, I guess.
Who doesn't like Scooby-Doo?
Either that or the fact is, the thing about it, in my defense, guys, I was watching The Twilight Zone and Creature Feature on Saturday nights when I was like 7.
Yeah.
So after you've been tormented or after you've had your mind blown by watching Night of the Living Dead on TV at late at night when everybody's asleep, you kind of look at Scooby-Doo and you go, kid stuff. Give me the real stuff.
That's true. He jumps straight to the hard stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about, speaking of hard stuff, you read us another story.
Oh, I got the hard stuff here.
This episode might...
I'm going to mainline some good scary stories here.
Listener discretion is advised, apparently, in this episode.
The next story, I picked another story that is brand new.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a peek in there.
I thought we each had 2 new and 2 old.
No,
Alrighty.
and it's creepy. I got to tell you, it's creepy. It's very short.
I like it. Sometimes the short ones are the best ones, and they're just creepy as hell.
Well, don't build it up. Maybe it's not that good. But I wanted to share it because I read it and I was like, ooh, nice and short, so I don't have to read very long. And it's scary too. So when you submit stories, make them short if you want me to read them.
I think my next story is really long too.
I'm just kidding. You do better at reading long stories than I do. So on with it. We're back to the ghost stories, guys. This was submitted by Elena in September of 2025. And it's called Delayed at Dusk. I volunteer at an animal rescue shelter located in rural Mexico. It's not uncommon to see folks passing by on the dirt road on horseback. Late one afternoon, I agreed to give one of my coworkers a ride back into town. I drove up to the entrance gate and pulled over to wait for him. As it was autumn, dusk was approaching, and so was a man on a horse. I saw him from a moderate distance. The horse and the rider continued moving at a casual pace. But the odd thing was that they didn't get any closer to me. At first I ignored it, but then I became intrigued. I thought, what's going on here? I started to get a bit frightened and impatient as my coworker was taking too long to come out. As it was really starting to get dark now, 2 things happened. Martin, my coworker, finally opened the shelter gate, and I turned to look at him. Then I turned to look down the road, and the horseman had vanished. I asked Martin about what I had just seen, and he told me that there are ghosts, fantasmas, as they say in Spanish, that roam that road. And he was definitely in a hurry to get out of there. Mexico is famous for many things, ghosts included. And that was Delayed at Dusk from Elena in Mexico, September of 2025. What'd you think of that?
I did read that one when I was publishing, and I almost picked that one. That was a really good one. And I'm with her on that, talking about Mexico being famous for ghosts. Seriously, to me, there is nothing so good as a Mexican, like, whether it's folklore hauntings or like actual hauntings.
Cryptids.
I love me some Mexican paranormal stuff. So if you are listening from Mexico, please, we need more stories from Mexico.
Yeah, when I was growing up in California, I had a lot of Mexican American friends, and I would always hear about El Cucuy, like that's the boogeyman. That if you don't behave, El Cucuy is going to come get you.
Yeah,
and it's spelled Cucuy, so it's not like Cucuy, but Cucuy, and that always terrified me. I was like, these guys really know how to control their kids and scare them, put the fear of the devil into them or something, because that was a really creative name. But if you guys have any stories about El Cucuy coming to get you when you were a kid, please send those in. I want to read them. I'll read them all.
I just laugh because every time you say El Cucuy, it reminds me of that guy that I follow on Instagram. I apologize, guys. I'm going to say a naughty word, but it's because it's the name of the guy's, the Latinos Against Spooky shit.
Oh.
And he always talks about like El Cucuy will come to get you. And
is he the guy that talks about the spookies?
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
So you should find him on Instagram. He's hilarious, and yeah.
But Mexican lore is rife with terrifying things.
So good.
La Llorona.
Yeah. I've talked about it before. I had a couple of they were brother and sister, twin brother and sister, and they were Mexican friends when I was a kid, and they are the ones who told me about La Llorona, and they tormented me. I mean, they tormented me with the stories because I kept begging them, like, tell me again. And they would just make up things. I know now they were just like building it up and like making up things because their, gringa friend was, she was not stopping. So anyway.
What was the other one I was going to mention? Oh, excuse me.
Oh, El Chupacabra.
El Chupacabra. But now the thing I have, and I don't want to cheat by getting on my phone and Googling it.
Yeah, don't.
But I want to say that El Chupacabra is like a Puerto Rican
That's
thing.
what I was thinking too.
That's where actually my family, well, my father's family, that part of the family hails from, sort of. And that was not something I ever heard of as a child. It was something that I heard of as an adult, because I think that El Chupacabra was something that was invented in the 90s, or the 80s.
Yeah.
It came to light during
early 90s.
Yeah. Perfect for the Art Bell show back in the 90s. And it was something, that was not historic to the culture. But I do believe that El Chupacabra does sort of blend in with a lot of Mexican and South American cultures, if I'm not mistaken. But if I am mistaken, feel free to send us a message and let us know.
Well, I know that supposedly the Chupacabra has moved up into places like Texas and New Mexico, Arizona, stuff like that.
Okay, so if it was Puerto Rico, we wouldn't have a way to get there unless it swam or flew. Can the Chupacabra fly?
Maybe. The Jersey Devil can fly. Why can't Chupacabra fly?
Oh, don't talk about the Jersey Devil. It freaks me out.
I know. We should do a Jersey Devil episode one time.
It's
just such a good story.
We should. I'd like to go deep into it You know
Yeah.
what? I loved the X-Files when it was out. I watched every single episode. I still remember the first time I sat down and watched the X-Files. I wasn't sure if it was a docudrama because back
Yeah.
then it was just television. You really couldn't. You saw it on a TV guide,
Mm-hmm.
and I was kind of disappointed at first that it was a drama show, and then I grew to love it. One of my least favorite episodes is the one that's about the Jersey Devil, because
I don't
in the
remember that
end,
one.
it's like some sort of like beautiful prehistoric looking woman that picks Mulder up, and he's like, "Oh, she's so beautiful."
That's the
And I'm like,
Jersey
"That's the
Devil?
Jersey Devil?" I don't think so. I think they got it. They got it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll do a Jersey Devil episode. Let's
And
do
we
that
won't talk
soon.
about the X-Files.
Yeah. Maybe we will. Huh.
Maybe.
Okay. Should I read a story?
Only if you have a good one to share.
Okay. Well, I wanted to find a story that had to do with salt in some kind because of that last story.
Yeah.
So I just searched salt on the website, and what I came up with was I didn't realize it didn't have anything to do with salt until I said, I'm going to read that one. It's called House in Salt Lake City.
Ah.
But so it's also, anyway. So House in Salt Lake City, submitted by Anonymous in Salt Lake City in August of 2006. I was 18. I moved out of my parents' house in a small mountain town into a house in Salt Lake City with my sister and 2 other roommates. The house was 2 stories, the upper story being the main part of the house with the kitchen, 2 bedrooms, and the basement also had 2 bedrooms. Those rooms were mine and my sister's. Since this was my first time living in a city, I was nervous about intruders and was quite paranoid about keeping our doors locked. I would often get up in the morning or come home to find one of our doors wide open. I would confront my roommates about this, but they would always deny that they were the forgetful one that left the door open. They could, of course, have been lying to cover for their own forgetfulness, but there were times when there did seem to be no explanation for the front door being wide open. My sister and roommate even once made a male friend spend the night after a really puzzling episode of a door being left open. The phone would also constantly ring, and when it answered, there would be nobody there. I don't know how many times I was woken up at 1 a.m. to the phone ringing with no one there. Not even a dial tone. Just nothing. Also, we would sometimes have strange messages left on the answering machine. You could almost, but not quite, be able to tell what the person was saying. One time, something about hot fun. Make of that what you will. And another time, an old man saying something about going to the cemetery. We would joke somewhat uneasily, telling each other to tell their stalkers to quit calling. One of my roommates that had the room directly above mine would often complain that she could not sleep well in her room because she felt a presence in the doorway. When I would try to get her to explain further, she would refuse to talk about it anymore, something that drove me insane. I now take that with a grain of salt, because she would later prove herself to not always be very honest. One night, when her and I were the only ones home, we were sitting in the kitchen having a late-night snack and chatting. Suddenly, we heard a phone ringing downstairs. It was not the house phone, and there were no cell phones downstairs at the time. We both looked at each other stunned, asking the other if we had just heard that. We then armed ourselves, me with a paring knife and her with a breadboard, and went downstairs to confront the psycho rapist killer that forgot to turn off his cell phone. We searched the basement and found nothing. There was no way for someone to get in and out of the basement without going upstairs. The windows were much too small. In my room, I had my bed pushed up against the wall, and since I like to sleep on my left side, I would sleep facing the wall. Early one morning, I was doing just that when I felt that someone, a man, was leaning over me and staring at my face only a few inches away. I looked up suddenly and looked behind me at my room to find myself alone. Some people have told me that I was just dreaming, but I know what I felt. You cannot mistake when someone has their face just inches from your own. Over time, my sister and I would have different roommates come and go. Eventually, my sister had her boyfriend move in, and my best friend moved in. I moved to one of the upstairs rooms. In fact, the room that my one roommate had claimed to feel a presence in. I never felt uncomfortable, except for one time. It was my day off, and I was home alone in the middle of the day and decided to lay down for a nap. I was asleep when I distinctly felt like I was being hugged, like someone was spooning with me. I wasn't scared at first, feeling rather comforted and loved, until I realized that no one should be in bed with me and that I was home alone. I then fully woke up a little shaken. My best friend was a little weary about living in the city because of the same small mountain town, being from the same small mountain town as I, and would refuse to stay alone in the house overnight or even late at night. One Sunday, my sister, her boyfriend, and I were all going to my parents' house for dinner. I told my friend that we would be home around 9. She said she was glad since she had school in the morning and didn't want to have to go stay at her parents' that night. When we got home, she was gone, and I remember being a little confused, but forgot about it. A few days later, she told me why she left before we got home. She had been sitting in the living room studying when she heard somebody whisper her name from the hallway area by the bedrooms. She didn't stick around. She just left for her parents. Finally, after 3 years, it was time to move from that house. My friend was moving to Colorado, and my sister was ready to buy a house. On the last day that we had this house, my sister and her boyfriend had already moved all of their stuff out, and I had plans on stopping there after work to pick up the last of my things. My friend stopped by during her lunch break to pick up her things. She knew she was the only one there, but she heard noises coming from the basement, as if someone was down there. She wondered if perhaps the landlord was there and she just hadn't realized it. She called down the basement stairs and got no answer. She then went down and checked around the empty basement and found no one. She left quickly, glad that that was the last time she had to be in that house. While living there, I was never really afraid or uncomfortable. Just looking back now and adding up all of the different incidents over the 3 years that I lived there, I can't help but think there was at least one spirit there. I hoped they were not too annoyed with our parties. So thank you again to Anonymous in USA for submitting House in Salt Lake City, August of 2006.
I want to know where that house is.
I know, right? And the voice on the answering machine saying something about come to the cemetery. Have you ever been to the cemetery in Salt Lake?
No, isn't that the one
Why
where
haven't
there's
we
some
gone
sort of
there?
a famous headstone that says like something about
Yeah, the
hell or
victim
something?
of the beast.
Oh yeah, what is that? What is that again?
666. Yeah, that's in Salt Lake. I believe, yeah, there's a, let me look at it real quick and tell you exactly what it says. The cemetery in Salt Lake is huge and it's pretty creepy. Let's see.
Well, as I recall, it had something to do with a man
Yeah.
who used to call his wife Devil Woman. Like, don't tell me my
No.
business, Devil Woman. And then when she died,
Not
he
true.
he put like on her tombstone, like she's burning now where she belongs.
No,
the Devil
no, no.
Woman. Is that it? That's not it.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, her name was Lily E. Gray, and by all accounts, she was a perfectly normal woman, member of the LDS Church, like good person, all that stuff. Her husband apparently went a little crazy. Like I think
Like you do.
she died of natural causes. What
Good for her.
I can't remember what. There's a whole Atlas Obscura. I think there's a Wikipedia page. Anyway, so her tombstone says, "The victim of the beast 666," and then her name and birth date, death date, stuff like that. And I guess it was just he was not in his right mind. She wasn't the victim of the beast 666, but. Yeah,
I guess if you're the headstone maker, you just have to do what they ask you to do.
I guess.
And
Yeah.
the person was probably like, I don't want to do this. I passed it off to my friend.
Yeah.
He did it, and now I don't have to feel bad about it. But I'd have a problem with that. But then I'd also be the person who'd be like, I'm sorry. Is that the way you spell the word? You know, I've seen these grievous mistakes on headstones.
Yeah.
I mean, that's forever. Well, until you get a new one. But yeah.
I think isn't that there's a like a moving ball in the Salt Lake cemetery. Maybe it's not there. Maybe that was somewhere else.
Like a movable feast.
No. Like a tombstone has this gigantic like granite ball on top of it and it's not secured and it will move.
And it will get you.
No, it like will spin.
Oh, okay.
Because it's in like a depression, you know, so it can't be rolled out or anything, but it will turn and
okay.
that might be somewhere else. But
Well,
yeah, we'll have to take a trip to the Salt Lake Cemetery. I can't believe that you've never been there.
There's lots of places I've never been, but
That's
I'll tell you
true.
where I have been. I have been to the castle,
Yeah.
and I have been to the ocean, but I've never been to me,
Oh boy.
and I think it's time.
I think maybe that ship has sailed, friend.
Hey, it's never too late to discover yourself.
It's never too late to be who you are.
Exactly. Be who you are, and if you're not yet, it'll come. Just wait.
Yeah.
It took me a long time.
Wow. So, yeah, that was pretty fun. I think we told some really good stories tonight.
I think so. If you guys let us know what you think. We're on social media. We're on Instagram and the Facebooks at Castle of Spirits.
Yep.
We're on YouTube at Castle of Spirits. And we can be found everywhere. This podcast can be found everywhere good podcasts are made free.
And even bad podcasts.
And that too.
You might find us there.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
On Spotify. Just Spotify.
Spotify, we're doing well. Apple Podcasts, we're not doing that because you literally
Come on,
have
Apple,
to
do better.
You literally have to be on like on an Apple device, like an iPhone, in order to leave a review and all this business. You have to be logged in. And well, the same goes for Spotify. But I digress. Just leave us a review.
A lot. Yeah.
And yeah. I can hear the music playing us out of the show.
Yeah, and the ghosts have made a request for dinner.
Oh, this is not going to be good.
It's actually pizza.
It's pizza night here.
Vince is burping into the microphone. Sorry about that.
I need a glass of water.
And they want pepperoni.
Pepperoni. And it's going to be cheers for beers and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So we are...
I just wanted to do a little shameless plug real quick.
Please
Just
do.
remember, please, I have my Kickstarter going until the October 5th. It will end. And if you are interested, I make some creepy paintings of
She does.
dark nights, abandoned houses, interiors and exteriors.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to help support me in that and get yourself some amazing prints.
The Kickstarter is to kickstart
So that I can make prints. Yeah.
her heart so she can
boy.
actually make some prints so that when somebody wants to buy something, it's, not everybody can afford an original piece of art, but everybody can afford a print. God knows I have a lot of them in my office.
It's true.
So,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
So if you want to help out,
There'll be a link
Do
in the
that.
show notes and everything.
yes.
And
there
if you
will
don't
be.
want to, that's okay too.
Now, one last thing we always tell you.
Yeah.
If you like this podcast, tell a friend.
And you know what? If you hate this podcast, you should just go ahead and tell 2 enemies.
Why? Because that's the way you get back at them.